When we travel, we can easily exchange one currency for another in multiple ways. However, has it ever occurred to you how did it even come to be that we can travel freely and use our money in the countries of our destination? What is the history of money? When and where did it appear? Why did we decide to use coins and paper money? We'll talk about all of this today. The history of money spans thousands of years and reflects the evolution of trade and economics in various civilizations. The first forms of money, before the advent of money as such, people used the barter system, exchanging goods and services directly. However, barter had its limitations. You needed to find someone with a mutual interest in the exchange, therefore different objects were used as money in different societies. Shells, cattle, precious metals, stones and salt. The first coins were created in Lydian around the 7th century BC. These coins were made from electrum, a naturally occurring alloy of gold and silver. They had a defined weight and a standardized design. The creation of coins simplified trade by providing a standardized and recognized form of currency. By the way, Lydia is an ancient kingdom located in what is now Turkey. The production of coins began during the reign of King Elias II. Of course, this was a revolutionary innovation, since up to that point, trade has been predominantly barter. If you want to buy a slave, you need to pay 20 camels. You have to bring them somehow. Or you could just bring one coin for each camel, put them in a pouch, very convenient. The benefit of Lydian coins was that they were made to a standard weight and size, making trade easier. The coins were stamped with an imprint to prove their authenticity. This proved confidence in their value but also versatility. Coins could be used in trade with various goods and services, which was more convenient than exchanging goods. The creation of coins was a significant step in economic and social development, as it facilitated trade, growth of markets, and laid the foundation for the modern monetary system. When and where did the first paper money originate? For that, we'll have to go to Imperial China around the 11th century in the Sichuan capital of Chengdu. Paper money becomes widespread during the Song Dynasty, 960-1279 AD. It was created as a response to the inconvenience of transporting and storing large quantities of coin. Well, you know that, when you're carrying a chest in a cart, it's insanely heavy, it rattles all over the street, it's incredibly inconvenient. The government naturally controlled the issue of paper money, providing guarantees for its exchange for gold, silver, or silk. This ensured public confidence in the new form of money, and who started promoting paper money in Europe? You all know this man, Marco Polo, the famous Italian traveler and merchant. He played a significant role in the history of the spread of knowledge about paper money in Europe. His travels to Asia and his stay in China in the 13th century gave him a unique opportunity to observe and describe many aspects of Eastern culture and economy, including the use of paper money. During his time in the service of Kublai Khan, ruler of the Mongol Empire and grandson of Genghis Khan, Marco Polo encountered paper money for the first time. He was fascinated by how this money was used in the Chinese economy, and especially how it was backed by a government guarantee. Upon his return to Europe, Marco Polo wrote the Book of the Marvels of the World, also known as The Travels of Marco Polo. Detailing his travels and observations in this book, he also mentioned paper money, its production and use in China. His writings had a significant impact on European perceptions of monetary systems and contributed to the expansion of knowledge about Chinese innovations. While Marco Polo's direct influence on the introduction of paper money in Europe may be subject to debate, his descriptions undoubtedly contributed to broadening horizons and interest in new forms of economics. Thus, Marco Polo is associated with the introduction of paper money to Europe through his travels and writings, which introduced the concept to Europeans and advanced ideas about different forms of different currencies. In Europe, paper money began to appear much later in the 17th century, first as bills of exchange and obligations, and then as government banknotes. Over time, paper money evolved into modern banknotes with varying levels of security and unique designs that reflect the culture and history of the issuing country. This evolution led to the creation of banking systems, checks, credit cards, and eventually digital and cryptocurrency in our day. This entire process reflects society's constant desire for more convenient, secure, and efficient ways to transact. When did currency exchanges first appear, and what were they? Currency exchanges, as we know them today, came into being in response to the needs of the developing international trade and travel. Their origins can be traced back to ancient times. The very concept of currency exchange already existed in ancient civilizations. In ancient Egypt, merchants traveling between cities and countries exchanged one type of currency for another. These early forms of currency exchange were informal and were largely based on the needs of travelers, merchants, and pilgrims. In the Middle Ages, with the growth of trade and economic activity, currency exchange became more organized. Important trading cities such as Venice or Florence had bankers who handled currency exchange for international traders. These bankers, also known as money changers or cambistas, from the Italian cambio, meaning to change, often worked in markets or ports where active trade took place. In terms of organization, early currency exchanges, the predecessors of modern ones, offered services of exchanging coins of different countries as well as other financial services, including lending and storing money. In the 20th century, especially after the Second World War and the establishment of the Bretton Woods monetary system, modern currency exchanges became more formalized and widespread. They also provided currency exchange services for travelers and businesses involved in international trade. Today, they're an important part of the global economic system, providing currency exchange and other related financial services, and come in many forms, from small airport kiosks to large international financial institutions. I mentioned the Bretton Woods system. What is it? It is an international financial system established in 1944 at the Bretton Woods Conference in New Hampshire, USA. The basis of the system was fixed exchange rates pegged to the US dollar. In turn, the US dollar was pegged to gold at a fixed price of $35 per ounce of gold. The system was created to stabilize international economy after the Second World War. The main objectives included preventing competitive currency devaluations, eliminating restrictions on trade and foreign exchange transactions, and ensuring exchange rate stability for the recovery and development of the world economy. It was within the framework of this system that the IMF and IBRD were created, that is, the International Monetary Fund and the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, which later became part of the World Bank. The IMF was created to oversee the monetary system and provide short-term loans to countries experiencing balance of payments problems. The IBRD was aimed at providing long-term loans for the reconstruction of post-war Europe. The Bretton Woods system lasted until the early 1970s. In 1971, US President Richard Nixon announced the suspension of the dollar-to-gold exchange, which led to a floating exchange rate and ultimately to the collapse of the system. But let's go back a little further into the past. What money did the Romans have? Now, let's say I'm intending to buy a gladiator. In the Roman Empire, the currency system was well developed and played a key role in the economy, both in Rome itself and the conquered territories. The main currency of the Roman Empire was the denarius, a silver coin that was introduced in the 3rd century BC. Later, gold and brass coins, aurasius and sestertius appeared. In the 4th century AD, Emperor Constantine introduced a solidus as the main gold coin. Solidus meaning solid, massive, durable in Latin. As we know, the word solid, we use it often. Now we know where this word came from. In conquered territories such as Gaul or Britain, modern England, Rome introduced its own currency system. This was part of a broader process of Romanization. The introduction of Roman currency in the conquered territories contributed to the integration of these regions into the economic system of the empire. This facilitated trade, exchange, and taxation. Roman coins became a symbol of the economic stability and power of the empire. The use of Roman currency in conquered territories was an important instrument of political and economic control. It ensured uniformity in the system of exchange and trade, which was an important aspect of maintaining order and stability in the empire. Thus, the monetary system of the Roman Empire was a powerful instrument of economic integration and political control, contributing to the strengthening and expansion of Rome's influence in the conquered territories. And what about money, let's say in medieval England and France? The money used there varied, and their currency systems went through several changes during this period. The earliest and most common coin in England and in Middle Ages was the silver penny. The minting of this penny began during the reign of Alfred the Great. During the Middle Ages, it was the main coin used for payment. What else they had? Shillings and groat. Although shillings and groat were not minted as coins until the late Middle Ages, they were used as units of account for larger amounts. A shilling was worth 12 pence and a groat was equal to 4 pennies. France in the Middle Ages used louis d'or, a gold coin, and livres, which were also used as unit of account. Smaller units included the sou, a silver coin, and the denier, copper or silver coin of smaller denomination. The prototype for the French denier was the Roman denarius. Trade relations and currency exchange, such as trade between England and France, was certainly active in the Middle Ages, especially fabric, wool, and wine trade. Both local and foreign currencies were used for trade settlements between countries. Also in the Middle Ages, the use of bills of exchange began to develop. It made it possible to carry out transactions without having to move large sums of money. Money changers and bankers played an important role in currency exchange and international settlements. They helped convert currencies and provided credit services to support trade. It should be noted that political conflicts such as the 100 Years' War had a significant impact on trade and currency relations between England and France. Thus, in the Middle Ages, England and France used different currencies, and international settlements often required money changers and bankers for currency exchange and credit transactions. Bills of exchange also began to appear as a means of simplifying trade transactions. What is a bill of exchange? It is a written debt obligation in which one party, the issuer of the bill, promises to pay a certain sum of money to the other party, the holder of the bill, at a specified time. The bill of exchange is one of the oldest financial instruments. Here are its features. A bill of exchange must contain certain standard elements: the amount of payment, the due date, the signature of the issuer, and the name of the recipient. Bills of exchange can be transferred from one person to another, which makes them a convenient tool in commercial transactions. Bills of exchange were used as a means of credit and a payment instrument. They allowed payment for goods and services to be deferred until a specified date, which was useful in international trade and domestic commercial transactions. Essentially, it is an installment plan. Bills of exchange were sometimes used as an alternative to cash, especially during periods of economic instability and shortages of coins. However, bills of exchange are not money in the strict sense of the word, since they present just a promise of future repayment, not an immediate repayment of the debt. This type of exchange naturally involved risk, since bills of exchange are obligations to pay. Their value and reliability depend on the creditworthiness of the issuer. Therefore, the use of bills of exchange has always been associated with the possible non-payment. However, bills of exchange have played an important role in the development of commercial credit and banking throughout history. They were especially popular in the Middle Ages and during the period of early capitalism when the banking system was not yet developed enough to provide widespread access to bank loans. In the modern economy, the role of bills of exchange has significantly diminished due to the development of more complex financial instruments and more advanced banking lending system. However, they are still used in some areas of commerce, especially in international trade. Have you wondered why is it that coins and paper bills became money and not, say, wood, plastic, or fabric? Reason number 1 is durability. Coins are traditionally made of metals such as gold, silver, bronze, and copper, which are durable and resistant to wear. Also, modern paper money is often made of special durable materials resistant to tearing and moisture. Another reason is prevention of counterfeiting. Metal coins are difficult to counterfeit due to the need for precise matching of weight, size, and design. Paper money contains complex watermarks, holograms, and other security features. The next reason is that money must be easily recognizable and trusted by the public. Metal coins and paper bills have a long history of use and are already ingrained in the public consciousness as reliable means of payment. Standardization and ease of circulation. The size, weight, and value are defined for ease of exchange and storage. Coins and paper bills are easily standardized, unlike materials such as wood or cloth. Historically, money has evolved to reflect value and stability. The use of precious metals began because of their scarcity and value, while paper money arose as a pledge to confirm the deposit of gold and silver in a bank. Also, money fulfills the basic economic functions of being a medium of exchange, a unit of account, and a store of value. Metals and special paper are best suited to fulfill these functions. And yes, modern technology has led to the emergence of alternative forms of money, such as plastic credit and debit cards, as well as digital currencies. However, traditional coins and paper money still remain an important element of the world economy. Friends, if you watched up to this point and liked this video and found it useful, do not forget to like it to help the development of our channel. If you're interested in international education, please visit our website smaps.com. Goodbye, see you in the next episodes.